this computer. Perfect. And now, as I told you here, I share already with you as a package.json. If you copy pasted and you are using, make sure you are using Node version 15. And you will install study lenses. That's the old version. It's much better than the new one. And then if you run this script npm run study, it will open your script. Let me show you. So if I say Control C to stop it, and I say npm run study, and voila, it will open my my repo inside a new tab here, which is browser tab. Now the question is why we are using study lenses. Well, study lenses allow you to study code in many different ways, much different ways. So let's go directly to lesson plan here, and let's go to, as I told you here, first we need to study the for loop, and then we need to study function and unit testing. Function and unit testing. So let's go to for loop. If I go click on isolate, of course I have example, an exercise. I'm gonna do the example for you, and then you will do the exercise later. Let's click on the example for many lines. So if I click on this one, it will open my code in a new editor, as you can see. It's a little bit similar to VS Code, but it's more sophisticated. It's better. So first, when you make any changes here, if you make any changes like that, they will not be saved. You need to click on save change like that. And now if I go to my VS Code and I go to the correct place, as you can see here, 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 and as you can see, it saves the changes. If you did not click on save changes, it will not save your changes, okay? Okay, that should be fine. We know the first one. Now dark here is just to switch between white theme and dark theme. Minimap, so minimap, it's here, this one here. It's useful when you have a very long file and it's just scroll very, very quickly. I don't use it much time, but anyway. Reset, when you make some changes and you are not happy with these changes, you want to go back to the previous version, just click on reset and it will reset your script, as you can see. Voila. Format, of course, format is just like VS Code. If your code is not formatted well, like that, and I click on format, and voila, as you can see, it format my code. It's simple. This one, ignore it. Print. If you want to print some code, so if I select this code and I want to print it, you can do that if you want to. Just print select, it will print it. That's fine. Now we have something called highlight. A highlight, if I click on highlight like that, it will open my code in just like a board here. And in here, you can use a red color if you want to explain more. You can use different color here. Blah, 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 blah. It's just like a board. That's it. Sometimes we need it to explain the code. If you want to clear the canvas, just click on this one. Voila, it will be clear, which is nice sometimes. Okay. Then we have personalize. Personalize is also another way. So if I click on this one, it will divide your code. As you can see, it's just like a game. It will divide your code into different parts. And here, your job, you can just drag and drop. It's just like a game. And yeah, just see after that is the correct way to organize it. If you do all of them correctly, this one in the exercise should be green. If they are not correct, it will give you just something like red. You can also get feedback and stuff like that to see if it's correct or not. That's fine. After that, we have the flow chart. Now, the flow chart here in the for loop is not that interesting, but if you have an if condition, it will, now here's not working actually. But if you have like if condition, it will show you just like no, stop. Bad boy. It will show you your code like that. So if I go to my Excalibur, stop playing with my laptop. Where's my Excalibur? Can anyone see my Excalibur? Oh, well. So it will show you just a diagram like that. So you will have the condition like that. And then after that, you will have something like that. If the condition is true, of course. If the condition is false, it will go here. It will show you just like a diagram. That's it. For if condition is actually quite nice. It's more, some people like diagrams. Voila. So your condition will be here. Let's say, for example, if age, that's my variable greater than 18. So if it's true, it will do something. If it's false, it will do something else. That's simply what the flow chart is doing. Variable here, we don't have any variable, but if you have variable like that, it will show you all the variable here. And here, well, actually, if I hover over this one, as you can see, they have different color, right? So if you are declaring a variable, it will show you this one, that's declaration, let step equal to 0. If you are reading the variable, it will be in red. If you are assigning the variable, it will be in this color and so on. So it will help you to see what's the variable, where it's been initialized, where it's been reassigned and so on. That should be fine, I think. Blank, well, it's also a game. It's help you to, for example, to test yourself. So if I move this one like that, as you can see, some of them being blank. And now I can fill it. So for example, console.log, and I'm going to console.log, for example, here step. And you can increase the difficulty to maximum and minimum. It's just like a game. It helps you more to understand or try to practice more. Now, if you want to open your DevTools, you will not click on the black area. You need to click on the white area, right click, inspect, voila. You go to the console, just like a normal one. If you want to run this code, you click on run, and voila, it's working, as you can see. If you want to debug your code, you click on debug, and voila, it's open it in debug mode. Of course, I've explained the debug for you in detail last module. And here you can use step over or step in, and you can debug your code. Click, voila. That should be simple. Yes. Open in GStutor. Now we have different editor here. We will use them a lot, especially in asynchronous programming. Some of them are really quite nice, actually. For example, GStutor here. If I open my code in GStutor, I click on that, open GStutor. It will open it in this. It's just another thing online. I'm not sure if I can move this one a little bit or not. Yes. And now here you can go step by step. So click, and as you can see, it will show you your code has been executed step by step. And also, of course, you can see the step here, the variable is undefined. It is just this one, just like scope in JavaScript. So this one like a console, this one like a scope. And here it helps you to go line by line, and like that, you understand what JavaScript is doing 100%. So it's checking the it's incrementing the variables and checking the condition and doing it again and again and again, and as you can see. So it's another editor. It's quite nice sometimes, especially with arrays and stuff like that, object. GStutor is quite nice to see step by step what is going on. And that's my console. That's my scope. What else? That's a maximum. If you click on option, you even have more button here. You have div, you have syntax tree, you have BF5, you have loop guard, and all of them are quite useful, but we will not use them for now. So yeah, you have more options, as you can see. Environment, stuff like that. So that's basically study lenses. Is the idea clear? Anything you did not understand in study lenses? Yeah.
No, it's clear.
It's quite simple, but it's effective. Sometimes really, it's really nice to study JavaScript using this tool. Okay, now let's go to the first thing we study, which is for loop. Of course, I've already explained for loop in detail. But now here, if you click on this one, it shows you the for loop in many different steps, as you can see, not on one line, in many different lines, just to make it clear. For let step is equal to 0. We normally use I here, they are using steps. That's a beginning point. You need to tell your for loop where to start. Here, I'm telling you to start from 0. Then semicolon. The second statement here, it will be my condition as long as the step less than 3. And then here I need to increment or decrement. Here I need to increment because it's 0 and I want it to be less than 3. Of course, here it will be 0, it will 1 time. 1 is less than 3 2 times, and 2 less than 3. So it will run 3 times, 0, 1, and 2. And of course, if I open my DevTools here, as you can see, and I run it, it should give me 0, 1, and 2. And after that, it will do that done. I think it should be clear, right? It's super clear. Yes, no?
Yes.
Good. Now, what happens if I change this one to decrement? Can anyone tell me what will happen here?
Will be infinite, no?
Of course, it will be infinite. Why? Because now I'm starting from 0. If I say minus, minus, then the next time it will be -1, -2, -3. And all the time, everything minus, it will be less than 3. So this condition here always will be true. And I will have infinite loop. Is the idea clear? Yes? No?
Yes.
Good. That's simply the for loop. Now, one line for loop is the same idea, nothing biggie here. That's what we used to. So for loop here, normally we have three statements. First, the starting point. Let step is equal to 0. Step, as long as step is less or equal to 10, and step plus plus. Notice here, I'm starting from 0, and as long as the condition is step is less or equal to 10, so it will go for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, until it becomes 10. 10 is also included. Why? Because I say equal here. And now here, if I open my console, and I run it, it will print from 0 to 10, as you can see. Nothing biggie, something simple, right?
Yes.
Yes, guys, or I'm talking to myself?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah,
Yes, it's fine.
it's simple, and we studied it in detail last time. Okay, for infinite. Now here, it's just show you some different loop. This loop, for example, it will never be executed. Why? Well, let's see why. So I'm saying here, let I is equal to 0 as long as I less than minus 1. But here I'm saying I plus plus, so I is 0 plus plus. This one will never be executed. Why? Because the I here, the 0, the first value. 0 is not less than minus 1. And when I say I plus plus, it will be 1, and 1 is not less than minus 1. And so on and so on. So this loop, it will never be executed because this condition is never be met. Is the idea clear here? Yes, no?
Yes.
Good. Now, does stop this loop, of course, it will work. Why? Because I is 0, and I'm saying as long as I less than 8, I'm incrementing. So it will run when I is 0 one time. Then when it's 1, when it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 is less than 8. But when it become 8, of course, 8 is not less than 8. This condition is false. It will stop. Now, this last loop here, it just show you different loop. This loop here, it's infinite loop. Why? Because I'm saying as long as I greater than minus 1. Well, I is 0. 0 is greater than minus 1, right? But here I'm saying I plus plus. So I'm incrementing it. So if it's 1, it will be more than minus 1. If it's 2, it will be more than minus 1. And so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. So all the time, this condition, it will be true, and this loop, it will be infinite loop. Is that clear?
Yes.
So we have different type of loop, of course, but you need to be careful with the loop to not create an infinite loop. You need to make sure, I've told you, you need to make sure that your loop start at or stop at specific point. So I will need to run it multiple times, and after that, you need to stop. And of course, to make sure that my loop is not infinite loop, there is a good tool here. So when you can create infinite loop, something called loop guard. So a loop guard, as you can see here, let's, where is my loop guard, click. So this loop guard, even if you create an infinite loop, it will run only 100%, and then it will stop it. Okay? So for example, now this one is an infinite loop. I know, let's comment those for now, because I don't want to run those. And now what I hear, I know that my loop is infinite. It will run just 100 times, and then it will stop because I have loop guard on. I can modify this number, by the way. I can make it 50. So it will run 15 times. After that, it will stop. So let's run it. As you can see here, see, it was infinite loop. It ran 15 times because my loop guard is on, and 15. And here I say range, here loop guard stop it because it is infinite loop, simply like that. So that's very nice tool. When you create by mistake infinite loop, it will stop it. It will not damage your browser. Is the idea clear? Yeah.
Yes.
The rest? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should be simple. Good. Iteration over string. Well, of course, we study this one, iteration over string as well. How can I loop through string? Well, we can use for loop. We can use for off loop. I've told you this one. So if I want to iterate through string, I can just say let I is equal to index as long as the index less than the string dot length, because the string dot length, it will give me how many numbers, as you know. So my string here is W, X, Y, Z. So what is the length of the string? What is the length of the string?
4.
It's 4. So it's 4 here. So we are using the length here just to run here this one. Just to run here. So this one will be 4. And I'm starting from 0, by the way. So 0, 1, 2, 3, that's 4 times. And of course here index must be less than string dot length. And it will run. I will run it now for you. Can anyone tell me how many index do I have here? So the length is 4, but how many index do I have?
3,
3. Why?
because start from 0.
Exactly. So here 0, 1, 2, 3. Exactly. We'll discuss that in detail, so that's good. So let's try to run this guy here. I'm gonna comment this one. We studied all of that before, by the way. All of them, they are simple, not that big. So I'm telling my loop start from index 0 as long as the index less than string. My string is this one here is wxyz, less than string dot links, because the links is more than the index by 1. The index starts from 0 and index plus plus, and here I'm just taking the string and I'm taking the index bracket index. Of course it will give me the letter. So if the index is 0, it will give me W. If it's 1, it will give me X, and then Y, then Z, simply like that. And here I'm just logging the index and the character. So it should give me W index 0, X index 1, Y index 2, and Z index 3. If I run this code, clicky, and voila, that was 0, W, 1, X, 2, and 3. Voila, it should be simple, right? Of course, if you try to access index which does not exist, it will give you undefined, because index 4 does not exist. We don't have it. We have maximum index 3. If you try to access something does not exist, it will be undefined by default, as you know. I'm going quickly because you already know all of this stuff, right? Yes.
Yes.
Good. Let me comment this one. Well, there's another way. If you want to, you can loop through the string backward, not forward. So you can start from this guy and then come back if you want to. But how can I do that? I've explained this one also. If you're loop, you can go from 0 to the end, or you can come from the end to the beginning. Here I'm saying I want the index to be a string dot length -1. Why -1? String dot length, I told you it's 4. But why -1? Because
-1 belongs
because the length is greater than the index by 1. So I'm saying a string -1, that means the string length is 4. -3, -1, it will give me 3. That means I want to start from index 3, and then here, as long as the index is greater or equal to 0. Of course, we don't have index -1, I know. The index starts from 0. And here I'm decrementing. So I'm going backward instead of going forward. And same idea here. Now here it will give me Z, which is index 3, Y is index 2, X index 1, and W index 0. It's the same idea, just we are looking the other way, backward. If I run it, well, as you can see, Z index 3, Y index 2, X index 1, W index 0. There is no many way we are using the backward, but it's also you can do it if you want to. Should be clear, right? Yes?
Yes.
Const. There's a small note here. If I use const in the for loop here, it will throw an error. Why? Because the value of the I changing here, and const, as you can know, or as you already know, that you cannot change the value of the variable using const. So if I run it here, as you can see, assigned to constant variable, I cannot use const here with for loop. With for off loop, you can, but with for loop, you cannot. I think that's clear. Yeah. And that's simply our for loop here. Clicky. So what I'm going to give you now, I'm going to give you some time. You can go through the exercises 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, there are only 3. You need to try to solve these exercises. And whenever you solve them, of course, we will go to the second part of our study, which will be function and unit testing. But before you go, of course, I need to show you the diagram, as you can see. So that's a for loop. simply. For loop, it's just inside the parentheses. We have three statements. That's the initialization. I'm telling my loop where to start the condition and increment or decrement, as you know. Then we have the body of the for loop and we have the code to run, simply like that. It's just another diagram to show you the for loop. Yeah, I think that's it. And of course, when you finish with isolate exercise, you can go to integrate, which is some multiplication, repeat character. It's just some exercises here. Now for these exercises, of course, you need to open your index.html like that. And if you open your DevTools like that and you try to multiply something, for example, 2 multiplied by 2, what is equal, and here you have the expected output, so already have the solution, and you need to make your solution make is exactly the same. If your output and the expected output is the same, then you are good to go. Of course, you can debug your code, you do everything you want, by the way. Yeah. Is there any problem here? Yes, no.
No problem.
Okay, of course, I'm gonna give you the first half to go through those. In the second half, I'm gonna start explaining function and unit testing. You already know what's function, but unit testing, I don't know. I don't think you know what's unit testing, or it will be something new. I'm gonna stop the recording and I'll give you time to go through the exercises. Of course, if you have a question, you can let me know.